Hello and welcome to the 2018 edition of the OVO Energy Women's Tour. The race is now in its 5th year and has become a firm favourite on the Women's World Tour calendar among the pro peloton and the fans alike. Well, it all starts here today in Framlingham and we're set to see some of the toughest stages yet. The route for the 2018 OVO Energy Women's Tour starts in Suffolk before heading west through Northamptonshire and Warwickshire. Worcestershire is the setting for stage 4, and then the race makes its first visit to Wales for the grand finale. Across the 5 days, the riders will cover a total of 678 kilometres and climb over 6,800 metres. I'm joined now by defending champion Kasia Niewiadoma after that stunning victory last year. Just what did it mean to you to take the OVO Energy green jersey overall?
Yeah, it was an amazing race for me, of course, and I have a great memories from that moment. And I didn't expect to win on the first stage, and yeah, I was just driven by great emotions and feelings and thoughts. So I was super happy and pleased to finish this race with the green jersey. And yeah, of course, I'm happy to be back here.
Talk us through that key move on day one last year, because you were out there for such a long time on that solo breakaway.
Yeah, that's true. Every actually single stage is really long here. So yeah, we were just cruising around the roads and suddenly I just felt like, okay, I feel like I've got to do something. And yeah, I attacked and managed to stay away. And of course it was really long time to be alone. And at the beginning I didn't really believe that I can make it, especially that I knew that there are a lot of strong teams behind me who's gonna start to chase me soon. And yeah, but I just was like, okay, don't give up, keep on pushing. And yeah, I was just in a really happy state and happy mood, so I was like, okay, let's try it.
It was incredible to watch at home and on the roadside. How are you feeling coming into this edition?
Coming here, I'm not like thinking that, oh my goodness, I need to defend this title. I'm coming here thinking like I want to enjoy this race again because it's great and beautiful area here, and I just want to be racing, like be aggressive rider and just enjoying the crowds and the roads. And yeah, we've got a really strong team here, and I don't want to like be here and saying, yeah, I won it last year, so I badly want to do that again. It's more that I want to be for my team here to try to help them and make their dreams come true.
Well, of course, we'll see you on the road in action today for stage 1. But before we go any further, let's have a word from the rest of the peloton and those ones to watch.
All the teams have got really strong riders, actually. I think, yeah, Lisa Brennau's obviously coming off good form, winning Thüringen. Cassie obviously won last year, who's in great form. And then the Barnes sisters, I guess, will be looking to do well in this race. So, yeah, I think there'll be a lot of competition out there. I just love racing in the UK. Obviously, I'm British, so it makes a massive difference to be at, yeah, what I class as a home race. And the support's always incredible on the roads. And yeah, I just love racing in this country.
I'm pretty happy with my form. Coming back with a cheesy victory in Thüringen Rundfahrt just a week ago, I think my form is good. So I'm looking forward to this week together with my team. We have different options, so it's not that the pressure is on me, but yeah, we have riders that can be good for a bunch sprint. We have riders that are good in the climbs, and then me, who is maybe a bit of everything. So yeah, I'm excited about this week.
I think this race suits me pretty well because we don't have a long time trial in it, so that's always good. But what I said already, our whole team is pretty strong, and yeah, I think this is a perfect race for our team. But yeah, also the other teams are always good here.
I'm hungry for doing some bike racing, and I'm sure, I mean, this tour is really long or 5 days, but it's some really tough stages, really long stages. It makes it a really hard tour.
My experience from racing here is that it's always super hard, and that I suffer every year. The one who's winning here is in a good shape, and a rider who can do everything actually.
I think we have different opportunities to go for a break, to go for a sprint, and yeah, the stages look good. So we see day by day how we'll go, and of course we want to go for a stage win.
I really like this race because the GT's, yeah, it's wide open for like anyone can win. Last year no one would have predicted how Kasia won the race, so yeah, for us it's kind of just, yeah, any option is a good option really. It's really nice on Wednesday, Thursdays and Fridays because you've got all the school kids out on the road, which is really nice, and then yeah, just to have, I mean, tomorrow's stage is quite close to where I grew up, so we're going to have a lot of people out there cheering me on, which is really nice.
We're in for such a strong GC battle this year, and Kasia, to you now, who are your key threats and key rivals in there?
Yeah, I feel like every single team has really strong riders, and I would start with the Bulls Dolmans, which have like Amy Peters, Chantal Black. They can win this race. Also, last winner of Thuringen, Lisa Brennauer. She's in really great shape, so I feel like she can try to defend her title from 2015. I feel like I could say every single rider can win here because everyone is in a great shape, on a great level. So yeah, it's gonna be super interesting to see how other teams are racing and what are their plans. So for sure, I feel like everything will be more clear after this stage.
This race seems to get tougher year on year. What do you make of the route this year?
Yeah, this year is even harder than last year, and I remember that after last editions I took like 3 or 4 days completely off just to recover my body because I was completely destroyed. So yeah, I'm ready to see what's going to happen after Sunday with me.
Thanks for joining us, Kasia. We've heard from the peloton. Now let's take a closer look at what's in store on stage 1. Stage 1 sets off from Framlingham and heads southwest towards Ipswich, and the only Queen of the Mountains climb of the day at Christchurch Park. The sprints come at Needham Market and then Framlingham as the race heads east to the coast to complete the 129.7 kilometres, finishing in Southwold. The ancient market town of Framlingham, nestled in the Suffolk countryside, is well known for its late 12th century castle, which is surrounded by the mere, a haven for wildlife. Framlingham is mentioned in the Domesday Book and has a variety of interesting independent shops, and also hosts a traditional market twice each week. Stage 1 will finish in the beautiful seaside town of Southwold, home to a popular sandy beach and Instagram-worthy beach huts. Popular with food and drink lovers, Southwold is also home to one of the UK's favourite brewers, Adnams. Time now for a quick break, but don't go anywhere because we'll be back in just a few moments with all the day 1 highlights here at the OVO Energy Women. Welcome back. We'll be joining the race action in just a moment, but first I'm delighted to be joined by OVO Energy CEO Chris Houghton. Firstly, why was it so important for you to continue to sponsor the Women's Tour this year?
Well, OVO is the leading independent energy supplier in the UK, and we're very focused on green issues. We're trying to transform the energy system, and we're also trying to decarbonise transport. And bikes, e-bikes, electric vehicles, they're all key to that. And it's a fantastic platform for us, both the Women's Tour and the Men's Tour, to get our brand awareness out there, but also our engagement, tell people who we are and what we're all about.
You mentioned the Men's and Women's Tour there. You've increased your commitment this year, seeing, for the first time, parity in prize money. How important is that, and what impact will it have on the wider sport?
Well, it's very important for us. I mean, we are about positive energy and about powering positive change. And one of the reasons we got involved with the Women's Tour is the fact that the facilities, the infrastructure, the organisation is fantastic. It's the leading women's cycling event in the entire world, and that was really important to us. But when we came on board, we saw that the prize money was not equal. In fact, it was far from equal, and it was within our gift to be able to do something about that. And as the dad of 2 fantastic daughters, I couldn't look them in the eye and explain to them why there should be any difference in the prize money. So it was really important to us, and hopefully people will follow our leads, and we'll see more parity in sport.
Chris, thank you so much for joining us. Now let's join all the race action from Framlingham to Southwold in the company of our commentators. Here's Martin McDonald and Joanna Rousel-Shand.
A great day here in Framlingham for stage 1 of the OVO Energy Women's Tour. Suffolk, good home here of the race. We've finished here many times over the years, and a nice sunny day for the riders. Temperatures about 15 to 16 degrees Celsius, and all the big names on the front as we roll away from the start. And Joe, great to see Marianne Vos, second from the left there in that European Champions jersey, back from a broken collarbone and here and racing.
It is great to see her back racing. She was the first ever winner of this race back in 2014. She's always been a big supporter of this event. And she's such a huge name in women's cycling, always got so much respect from all the other riders in the peloton. And she's a superstar. Everyone loves watching her race.
And you can see the riders love the huge crowds here on the OVO Energy Women's Tour. Here's our teams that you're watching out for. Canyon SRAM, really strong team. Last year's winner, Wiggle High Five. Kirsten Wild, such a fast sprinter from there. Katie Archibald's in there for that team as well. WNT, one of the British teams as well. And Story Racing, the team of Dame Sarah Story. But we'll pick out some more of your teams. Right in the centre in that rainbow jersey is Chantal Black of the Bull Dolmans team, and they really are the big team in women's world cycling.
Bowles Dolmans are incredibly strong. Looking at their start list, you know, they could be riding for any rider for this race. Any of their riders could win the overall, could win in sprints, could win in breakaways. And because they've got so many options, it takes the pressure off all the individuals. So Chantal Black there on the front in the centre in the white jersey with the rainbow stripes, she's the world champion. But she hasn't got too much pressure on her because she knows that any of her teammates could win as well. And I think people that are successful love to be in those strong teams because it does take the pressure off. They can race aggressively, they can race with an open tactic, and it keeps everyone else guessing because no one knows who is the team leader.
And just seeing on the back here, Corinne Rivera. She's a rider to watch out for today, wearing number 21. Chloe Hosking right in the centre there from Ale Cipollini, this year's Commonwealth Games road race champion. And alongside her, last year's winner, Kasia Nuvedoma. And what a sensational race. She tied up the general classification on the opening day, and I think today, very flat stage, and I think a lot of the riders and teams in this race will be making sure no one slips away to pull a similar move.
They will. So Kasia Nuvedoma, only 23 years old. I think a lot of people forget quite how young she is. An incredible ride last year, day one, solo breakaway, and she maintained that lead all the way throughout the 5 days of racing. So I think the other teams will be wise to that this year. They're not going to let anyone get a big gap on the first day. But that was an incredible ride, and she deserved that victory. And it got everyone talking, but I don't think we'll see quite the same thing happen this time around.
So the riders are just rolling out here towards kilometre zero. So this is the neutralised section, and sometimes this can be one of the most stressful parts of the day, can't it?
Oh, definitely. You line up at the start, everyone wants to jostle for position. There's a few riders that are a bit more relaxed that will sit at the back. Other riders will be desperate to stay in the top few. We can just see Danny Rowe there in the green jersey in the centre of the shot. She's always very good at staying at the front of the bunch, and she'll want to be right up there, keeping herself out of danger. At the back is where you get people having crashes, you get punches happening, people getting dropped on climbs, and it's not the place to be. You end up working harder to go at the same pace. So you want to be able to sit at the front, be relaxed, and also be there to cover moves that go when the racing does get hard. You can see who's attacking, you can get on those attacks. So these girls here, these are nice and relaxed at the front right now.
So one of the last times that you raced this race, we finished in Aldeburgh, just very close to the finish today, and it's been interesting just to watch how this race has grown over the years. What was your memories of your experience in this race?
It was absolutely fantastic. So you go to races around Europe, big races, big prestigious races, and there can be very, very few crowds out watching. But the Women's Tour is such a special race because we get such enthusiasm in the UK, so many fans out watching, especially on the weekdays. You get school children coming out, and then having town centre finishes as well. Often abroad you get races finishing in the middle of nowhere and no one's out to watch you, but a town centre finish, the crowds come out, and it creates an atmosphere, and all the riders love that, and it was special. It's special for British riders racing at home, but all the European riders as well. This is the race that they talk about, and it's not special to them in the sense that it's a home race for them, but because of the crowds, because of the organisation, because of the TV coverage, it is a big deal.
And it really grew out of, if we think back to London 2012, Marianne Vos on the front there, winning that women's road race, and it was celebrated as one of the events of the London Olympics, and it really was the sort of catalyst for the sort of growth of women's world cycling.
It was an epic race, that Olympic road race. Lizzie Armitstead, now Lizzie Deignan, got silver for Team GB, the first Team GB medal of the Games in London. And it was epic. The weather was terrible and that break got away. And I think a lot of people, it sort of opened their eyes to women's cycling, opened their eyes so that it could be good to watch and we could see more of it. And definitely in the UK, massively increased fan base, riders like Lizzie becoming household names. And I think that was a real catalyst to get more events like this happening on home roads here.
So that's the point we were aiming for, kilometre zero. So we are off and racing. 129.7 kilometres remains for the riders, and the Sunweb team, Ellen van Dijk, right on the back. She's a rider that really is a powerhouse for that Sunweb team. Pointing out there on the left of your picture, the Mitchelton Scott team, the colours of the New Zealand national champion and many national champions, world champions and Olympic champions in this race. And another rider that's very close to the front, we've seen her in that red, white and light blue jersey, Christine Majerus. You can see her just a second from the right there of Bull Dolmans. She's had a phenomenal season, taking a stage in the Elsie Jacobs stage race, her home one. She just lost the overall classification in that race on the final day, but twice a stage winner in this race. On the outskirts of Ipswich, heading towards the first Skoda Queen of the Mountains point of the day. That comes with 102.2 kilometres to go. It's in Christchurch Park, and it's just 800 metres and 1.5%. So not really a massive climb when we look ahead to the rest of the race, but it's good to get that jersey on someone's shoulders today.
It is. It's quite early in the stage, so everyone will have quite fresh legs. We can see here the team of Boels Dolmans in the orange on the front. They clearly want to go for this. And like you say, whoever wins this will be in a jersey at the end of the day, and that gets their team on the podium, their sponsors out there. So it is very important. So
watch out for those orange jerseys. You're going to be seeing them a lot this week. So you've seen Chantal Black, the world champion, Christine Majerus, the champion of Luxembourg. But they've also in that team, Amelie Deirdrickson, former world road race champion, Jip van den Bos, Amy Peters and Anna Plichter. So straight away here, Boels Dolmans looking incredibly serious about this one.
They have got themselves organised. They've got 4 riders here in the orange leaning out. It looks like Christine Majerus behind is the protected rider. I can't see Chantal Black in that lineup, but they are going for this. This is important to them. And like I say, because it is so early in the stage, everyone has got fresh legs. But this will be a good test. It'll be a good test of form. It's not the biggest climb. It's not going to decide the whole Queen of the Mountains competition for the whole race, because we've got some far bigger climbs to come. But this is bragging rights for a team on day one to be the first to get these points.
And you pointed her out on the rollout, Danny Rowe, very much to the front of this race already. She's had looking at this year's Tour of Yorkshire, last year really was development team on the road for her. She really has stepped up this year.
Danny has stepped up incredibly well. So already a bronze medal at the Commonwealth Games in Australia back in April. That was a brilliant start to the season for her. Then rather than taking a break after the Commonwealth Games, which a lot of riders did, she carried on training, came straight back to Europe. I think she raced Liège-Bastogne-Liège, and then she raced Tour de Yorkshire, where she got second overall, which was an incredible result for her. I think she would have been really, really pleased with that. And I'm just waiting for her to get that really big win.
I don't think that is far away. I've got Serta here from the WN team on the back. But Bull Dolmans, Lisa Klein is just moving up as well. And here we go into the climb. So that's the start point of the Skoda Queen of the Mountains point of the day. So as we said, just 800 meters in length. So 4.32 and 1 points. And it really, you've got to watch down the back here, haven't you, Joe, when it really all comes together on the bottom of the climb like this.
Yeah, this is really difficult. If you're out the back of the bunch, you've got hard work here, because the riders at the front are already sprinting up this climb, already going for it. At the back, you have to pretty much come into a standstill on that sort of corner. Then you've got to get back up to speed, accelerate. And these girls are already at speed, so that is a tough position to be. So these girls at the back are making life slightly hard for themselves, but they'll soon get themselves further up the front, I'm sure.
Last year's Queen of the Mountains was Audrey Cordon-Rago, and she really made the jersey her own right from day one. And just picking out there from Story Racing, Chanel Mason, she's a last-minute replacement for Anna Kay in the Story Racing team, but Christine Majerus looking very, very comfortable on the front. Elisa Longo Borghini in that green, white and red Italian national champions jersey coming right onto the wheel of the Luxembourg champion here. So straight away on the opening day, really trying to set this up, and Chanel Mason just struggling a little bit on the back of the group.
Yeah, as gaps open here, it does get very hard to close these. It depends how hard the race goes over the top of the climb. If they ease up after the sprint, it would be okay for the girls at the back. If an attack goes after the sprint, that'll make it really tough.
Christine Majerus now lines up for the top of the climb. So Bull Dolmans, they wanted that jersey, and the only climb of the day, maximum points goes to Christine Majerus, the champion of Luxembourg. So that means she will pull on that Skoda Queen of the Mountains jersey after today. So category 3 climb, so they have confirmation. Christine Majerus from Elisa Longo Borghini, Cecily Ludwig taking the 3rd place. Over the top, Chanel Mason from Story Racing. Little bit of work to do. So some of the home teams here, they're going up against the might of the World Tour. So after 27.5 kilometres here, a few riders just struggling at the back, but no real breakaways managing to get established yet.
We can see the peloton is very strung out. So these riders at the front here, these are the girls that got the points. They're just sort of taking it a bit easy now. Behind the peloton is all going to sort of bunch up together now as everyone sort of regroups. So those girls at the back will get back on, but that has been a tough opening 20 or so kilometres for them.
I've just seen as well a rider worth pointing out. It should, in theory, come down to a bunch sprint today. And the Belgian national champion, Jolien de Heure, just over 3.5 weeks after breaking her collarbone, and she's back here and racing. So quite a swift recovery.
That is a very swift recovery. To be back on your bike even that soon, let alone racing, is very, very quick after that sort of injury. And she sat there at the front in a perfect position. Obviously got good legs on that sort of climb and just looking after herself nicely there.
So I'm sure she would have been straight on to the home trainer once she'd had an operation. She posted some photos on social media. Plate and pins into the shoulder for the Belgian national road race champion. And amazing recovery. Katie Archibald, another rider that's coming back from a broken collarbone. We mentioned Marianne Vos a little bit earlier as well. So quite a few riders will just be looking to see how the legs react coming back into racing today. And the Mitchelton Scott team with Jolien de Heure there, so they've got a real job to do here if she's feeling good when they come to the end to try and lead her out.
They have. They've got the whole race to control. It is a long day out today, and it's a long 5-day stage race, so no one wants to put all their eggs in the basket on day one. Don't want to tire all their riders out straight away, so they're going to sort of see how today pans out.
So the race moving past the Bobby Robson stand here on Portman Road. A great start to the stage. The peloton now heading towards Needham Market on stage 1 here at the OVO Energy Women's Tour. And the first iceberg sprint of the day will come with 81.5 kilometres to go. And Joe, 3, 2 and 1 points on offer, but really important in this race is always those bonus seconds that are also on offer at these intermediate sprints.
Yeah, exactly. So in these sprints you can get 3, 2 or 1 bonus seconds, which obviously can make a huge difference to the general classification. If it is a bunch sprint today, those seconds can make a big difference. But even overall in the whole race, it can come down to such small margins between 1 or 2 riders. So that's why you see riders that you'd think would be going for the general classification still getting up there in these sprints, because they know 1 or 2 seconds can make all the difference.
Chantal Black on the front here, the world champion, a real powerhouse, winding this one up. Here comes Sunweb though. Ellen van Dijk now coming through to the front, and they look like they've got Corinne Rivera right on the wheel, and Corinne just been finding some form as she comes into this tour.
Yeah, Corinne had a bit of a slower start to the season compared to last year, but she's just won 2 stages of the Lotto Thüringen Tour just the week before last, so definitely coming into some good form for her.
So now they line up for the sprint. There's Danny Rowe there as well. Marianne Vos coming up in that European Champions jersey. Amy Peters on the front. Sunweb right on the front here in their entirety, trying to lead out for Corinne Rivera. Amy Peters trying to battle back in that orange jersey. Danny Rowe really well positioned here in that green jersey. So a real battle now starting. Corinne Rivera sees that line ahead of her, so the American now lights it up for the sprint, and good work there by Team Sunweb. So Corin Rivera takes the first intermediate sprint of the day, and that could become important come the finish of stage 1. And there's confirmation of the results of Corin Rivera from Amy Peters, with Chloe Hosking of Alei Cipollini sweeping up that 1 point. So that really bodes well for Sunweb as this stage goes on. They really have got the faith in Corin Rivera.
It does, and it will give her confidence in herself, and it will give the team faith in her. And it's good to sort of get a run out to sort of a practice sprint, test your legs and see where you're at earlier on in the stage.
So now the attacks come thick and fast here, and it's a great time to try and attack straight after that intermediate sprint. It's sometimes a good place just to try and take the race by surprise and try and get away.
It is. The riders that have sprinted will be a bit tired. The riders that have done the lead-outs will definitely be tired as well. So it's a perfect point. If you can position yourself well and follow the wheels and not use too much energy in that sprint, you can use that as a springboard as everyone else just eases up to try and get a gap. Unfortunately, it looks like it's not quite meant to be today, but good effort there. It's a good opportunity.
Lotte Lepisto just making a move there for Cervelo Bigler. And Lotte Lepisto, great sprinter. So interesting to see her trying to get away.
It is interesting, and I think a lot of teams will have come in today with quite an open tactic. We know from last year, Cassie Nieuwedoma, day 1 breakaway, won the overall race on day 1, so anything can happen, and the stages are quite varied this year, quite varied terrain, so a lot of teams will try different tactics on this day, use the opportunity to test the legs of the different riders in the team, see who's feeling good and see who is going to be their team leader throughout the week.
So Cervelo Bigler on the front here in these white jerseys. They're without Ashley Moolman-Pasio in this race. So they've got Cecily Jorgensen, Hans-Sophie Deutsch, Nicole Hanselman, Clara Koppenberg, Cecily Ludwig and Lotte Lepisto. So a strong team here for Cervelo Bigler. Do you think they'll miss the power of Ashley Moolman?
I think Ashley Moolman-Pasio is an incredibly strong rider, but I think Lotte Lepisto and Cecilia Ludwig are probably their biggest names here. And like I say, it's such an open race with the terrain. No one really quite knows what they're going to get. Quite a variety of stages this year. So, of course, you're going to miss someone like Ashley Moolman-Pasio, but they've got other riders that are incredibly strong as well.
We're heading back towards Framlingham now. That will be the second Iceberg sprint point of the day. That'll come with about 50.7 kilometres of the stage remaining. So remember, 129.7 kilometres a day. Interesting that no breakaways managed to stick, but a lot of riders have come into this. They've been talking about the increased distance, which is something that, again, the distances of women's racing is just going up and up.
Yeah, so previously the max distance for a women's race could be 140 kilometres, but in a stage race the average had to be 120 kilometres. But that was changed at the end of the 2016 season, meaning that that's now up to 160 max and 140 average. So the Women's Tour have gone big basically. They said, right, we can go bigger, longer stages we're going to. And it's tough, you know, it's a long day out on the bike. And the girls are embracing that, but these are long, tough stages.
And we just got a glimpse there as well of last year's winner, Cassia Nieuwedoma. So not quite... I don't think they'll ever let her sneak away by stealth the way she did last year. But now Team Sunweb are on the front. We saw Corin Rivera take that first intermediate sprint. Chantal Black and the Bull Dolmans team move up again. So these bonus seconds that we've said can become all the more important as this race goes on. And now really being fought over.
And the previous sprint, I think Boels Dolmans took on a little bit too early and they'd run out of riders by the sprint, so Amy Peters would start getting on the Sunweb train. But here we've got Chantal Black on the front for Boels Dolmans again, getting themselves organised. They mean business. They wouldn't have been happy losing that first sprint, so they're trying to dominate Team Sunweb here and get the edge in this sprint.
So now they're winding it up for that sprint again, and it looks like Amy Peters, Christine Majerus right behind her, Marianne Vos trying to come through the centre, Ellen van Dijk hands over the lead out here on the front, so you can see the teams putting the full lead out in front of their sprinters. Corin Rivera now winds it up for the next intermediate sprint, and Amy Peters is there in that orange jersey. This one looks like it's going to be between these three. Danny Rowe now moves up for the Wow Deals team in the green. Can Danny Rowe try and sneak some seconds? They're all across the road, and Danny Rowe looks like she's just edging ahead of Amy Peters, but Peters fighting back on the line. A very close sprint there between Amy Peters and Danny Rowe, and Corin Rivera well there as well in third place.
Wow, that was really close. Dani Rowe did a brilliant job there of surfing the wheels. I saw her on Marianne Vos as well, so what a lead out to have from Marianne Vos. But there we go, Amy Peters taking the points there from Dani Rowe and Corinne Rivera.
So a great day out in the intermediate sprints. That gives Amy Peters the first Iceberg Sprints jersey of this year's OVO Energy Women's Tour. Corinne Rivera there in 4 points, just 1 point behind. But we've got to think about this race as we go on. And Dani Rowe already, I would say, looking ahead the days to come, that final stage in Wales on Sunday, it's going to be a big one. She's already trying to put some seconds in the bag.
She's riding very smart. She knows that every little second counts, and she naturally positions herself well in the bunch. So for her to go for an intermediate sprint, she's already going to be up there. She can follow other people's lead out trains, and you know, a second here, second there. She'll have looked at this race and she'll have seen today probably going to be a bunch sprint. You know, she needs to save herself as much as she can, but going for a couple of sprints can make all the difference, and she positions herself so well all the time. She's nicely scored a couple of seconds there quite easily.
And in terms of the way she's managed to switch again from the track program where you were teammates and world and Olympic champions together, that sort of season last year could sometimes maybe just take a year just to find your real road legs to be able to compete at World Tour level.
Exactly. It's very, very difficult to combine track and road in the same season and be winning at both in the same season. Occasionally riders do it, but Dani was primarily a track rider when she was younger, Olympic champion alongside myself and Laura Kenny. But now she's fully focused on the road, and each year that she's fully focused on the road, she just goes from strength to strength, and it really does pay off. All those long miles over the winter, all those training camps, and you know, it's paying dividends now. She's getting the results that she deserves.
You can see now again little testing attacks off the front as we head down towards the finish in Southwold. We've had that Skoda Queen of the Mountains behind us. Christine Majerus will pull on that jersey at the end of the day. With both of our Iceberg Sprints are behind us as well. Amy Peters will be in red, but who will into the closing stages of stage 1 of the 2018 OVO Energy Women's Tour. An absolutely blistering pace from the start, and we're heading towards the finish today in Southwold. Joe, an incredible amount of attacks from the start. Nothing has stuck. All of the sprinters teams, they want the opportunity to bring this down to a bunch sprint.
They do. We've got some very tough stages to come, so this on paper really looks like the best day to have a bunch sprint. So we can see here now all the teams are getting organised on the front. Alex Ceppolini on the right with Chloe Hosking as their main sprinter, Canyon Sham in the middle.
Oh, a rider down here, Urska Pintar from the BTC City Ljubljana team, gone down quite heavily at the back. And again, this can sometimes be what happens, isn't it, when a bunch is together like this all day. That sort of fatigue and the concentration can just go at the back end of the stage.
Yeah, everyone's getting tired, but everyone's also jostling for position. The pace is rising. The pressure's really on to get in a good position for this sprint, and that was just a slight touch of wheels there, but she was up very quickly.
There's Lottie Becker there on the back, number 112, and she's another rider. We think back to Kasia Niewiadoma last year, going away, winning the stage when no one was expecting it. Lottie Becker, she did the same in the Tour of Chongming Island recently, went away, won what is in essence a flat race. And I think it's riders such as that have really sort of got the sprinters teams worried about sort of letting that early break go away and deciding the GC. But a few riders running wide here on the dual carriageway.
Also, this is where it really pays off if you've checked out the stage finish. With this race being a point-to-point race, those girls there have taken a far wider line. That's not what they wanted. They've lost a good 20-30 metres there.
Do you think this will play into the hands of some of the British teams potentially, and especially riders such as Dani Rowe will be looking to try and take this race overall, because being able to recce each stage can be hugely important, especially when you come into very narrow roads like this, a bit twisty and very turny. Could it help the British teams?
Definitely. So anyone who's had the chance to recce any of the stages will be in with a huge advantage. A lot of women's races, well, a lot of races in general, are often on laps of circuits, but this is point to point, so no one's seen the finish already in the race. So girls that have gone out there and checked out the course already, that is a big advantage. But also just the fact that British roads, they're heavy, hard roads to ride on, so a stage can look flat on paper, but that's very different to racing around Spanish roads, so the British girls will know exactly what that feels like.
So now starting to line up for the finish, and we're starting to get the formations of the teams on the front. So in the white there, Cervelo Bigler, in that orange jerseys of Bull Dolmans, and now trying to set up their lead outs for the sprinters, for the WNT riders. Just down here at the back, Hayley Simmons there, number 121. We'll remember her from this year's Commonwealth Games as well, where she took a silver medal in the time trial. Canyon SRAM in those black and pink jerseys. They've got Hannah Barnes in here, and Hannah, a very versatile rider. She's won a stage of the Women's Tour before, and she can get over those climbs potentially at the end of this race.
Yeah, Hannah, a very talented rider, and now with her teammate Alice this year as well. But oh, there's been a crash there for Wiggle Rider. So
Lisa Brennauer, it looked like there, number 51. She's that's a disaster for that team. Lisa Brennauer, a really versatile team, and the whole Wiggle High Five team potentially now at the back. Katie Archibald there, just having a look round to see where their team leader is.
Yeah, so Lisa Brennauer will be the team leader for Wiggle High Five. She won this race a couple of years ago. So when that happens to your team leader, at this point, you're not so concerned about the stage win. You need to go back and get that rider so they don't lose a big chunk of time, because if they're out the back at 5k to go and the bunch is motoring towards the finish, you can get a huge time gap developing there.
We're through 5 kilometres to go. The run-in's quite technical here as well, isn't it? We've got some twists and turns within that final kilometre. How's that going to affect the lead out?
It will make it challenging for the lead out. I think there's a corner about 300 metres to go, which is when you'll be at really sort of top speed. So you need to get your sprint around that corner safely. There'll always be someone that's willing to take a risk, and crashes are a big threat. But oh, there we go again.
Speak of the devil, and another big crash here in the Wiggle High Five team. They were chasing to get back on, and we look like most of them have gone down here. Katie Archibald there, just waving her teammates off. She's coming back from a broken collarbone. There's Bex Durrell, she's hit the ground as well, and Simona Frapporti. So these 3 riders just taking a little while to get up. But I remember Katie going down on the first stage in 2015 as well, but she's probably quite worried after coming back from injury.
Yeah, she crashed at the Tour de Yorkshire just a few weeks ago, had quite a long time off the bike waiting for surgery. She's obviously back ready to fit to race, but yeah, a crash is probably not what she's looking for on stage 1 of this race.
The formations at the front here in those black and yellow jerseys, the team of Mitchelton Scott. We've talked a lot about Jolene de Hoorde coming back from that broken collarbone, as we've mentioned the other riders. In terms of the sprint, when you're coming back from an injury like that, it's not just the sort of lack of racing that you got, but sometimes the ability to pull on the bars.
Yeah, definitely. So breaking the collarbone is very, very painful. It is very soon to be back on your bike this early. A lot of surgeons will say wait 6 weeks before you even ride again. Here we've got 2 of the Wiggle riders chasing back on there. That was quite unfortunate for that team. They had all 4 of them at the back when that crash happened, because they were going back for their teammate Lisa Brennauer, and that's taken them all out again. So tough last few kilometres for the Wiggle High Five team.
So Annette Edmondson and Audrey Cordon-Rago chasing to get back on, but Bull Dolmans in those orange jerseys. Some of the Story Racing riders here just on the back of the group. EJ Harris is one of those riders that we'll be watching out for in this race. She's a great sprinter, is EJ Harris. If you watch the Tour Series, EJ Harris taking a round of that in Wembley, but we'll see how some of the British riders can put themselves against the might of the World Tour teams. The German champion, though, Lisa Klein in the centre in that white jersey, and Hannah Barnes looking very comfortable there.
She was just sat up a few riders back, and it makes such a difference having your teammates in front of you blocking the wind for you. It is so much easier. So a strong team with an organised lead out can make life just quite simple for a sprint. They just follow the wheels, and they know that they can just go at the last minute when they get dropped off.
So the Swedish champion here, Sara Penton of Team Virtu. She's just moving up as well. And Team Virtu, they've got Barbara Gwariszki, the sprinter, in there for Team Virtu. But now the battle here with the lead-outs. And it takes a little bit just to organise your lead-out train, doesn't it? As you said, you've got that corner with 300 to go, but it's a headwind finish, slightly uphill. How will that change the lead-out? Because some of the team supporters might have radioed back to the team cars and the riders just to communicate what that run-in's like.
Well, definitely anyone that's seen it themselves would be at an advantage, but yeah, a lot of teams might have sent someone up ahead, someone that works for the team, and they can radio back and give some information. But a corner at 300 to go is very tight. But you know, these guys are very, very skilled bike riders, but I think you'll want to have your sprint around that corner right up there in a really good position. It's going to be a hard sprint to the line there with a headwind, so you don't want to be first around that corner. But Boels Dolmans here, really good sort of strong line up on the right, and then Canyon Schramm getting in the way as well.
So Boels Dolmans, they've got Amelie Deirdrichsen, Christine Majerus, who's on the front here. She's a handy sprinter, but looks like they're handing over to possibly the likes of Deirdrichsen today. The world champion, though, on the front, Chantal Blaak. And you can see the how much she's putting the front of this race into difficulty now. And here come the Virtu colours, the blue, through to the front. So Gorishki, she's a good sprinter, is the Italian. 2 kilometres to go.
Pace is really on now. I think Amelie de Dirksen is going to be the rider of choice of Boels Dolmans. She's been looking after herself today. She hasn't been going for those intermediate sprints. That's been Amy Peters on that job. So it could be a really good finish for her. She's a very strong rider, very, very talented young girl.
Canyon Schramm through the centre. We're trying to look to try and set this up for Hannah Barnes. We've seen the FDJ colours up there towards the front as well. Roxane Fournier from France, very fast sprinter. Chantal Blaak keeping the pressure really high here. Mitchelton Scott on the extreme right of your picture. Again, just trying to keep this under control and bring their sprinter back up towards the front. So don't forget, the winner of the stage also takes the first OVO Energy green jersey. And all important here, Joe, as well, you got those 10, 6 and 4 bonus seconds on the line.
Yeah, we've talked about the bonus seconds earlier in the intermediate sprints, but you get even more bonus seconds on the finish line. So it's not just a stage win, but some seconds towards the overall general classification can really pay off later in the race. So it's very important for that as well.
So it's just started to get a little bit chaotic now at the front as we go through the 1 kilometre to go. But Mitchelton Scott look like they're starting to time this lead out to perfection. Sometimes the danger is that riders can go a little bit early and get a little bit keen in the lead out. But Mitchelton Scott for Jolien de Hoora, and she's got plenty of teammates right in front of her. But you can see the sort of whiplash effect of the pace at the front, and a rider going down very heavily on the side here from Trek Drops.
That looked like a very heavy crash there. The race is full on at the front, and I'm sure we'll hear more about her later. But yeah, Mitchelton Scott really taking control of this peloton. Coming up to the final corner where you really want to send your sprinter off to the finish there.
Seeing Kirsten Field in that black jersey of Wiggle Hi-Fi, but lining up now for this final corner. And look at this, the lead out now, Jolien de Hoora. We're right down on the seafront here in Southwold. It's 300 metres, as we said, from that bottom corner up towards the line. Watch out as well. There's Amelie Deirdrichsen in that orange jersey. Kirsten Field is battling now, but it's that Belgian champion, Jolien de Hoora. Corinne Rivera is trying to get up there as well, but straight down the centre of the road. You can see this headwind, but it goes to de Hoora. The Belgian champion is back, and Marianne Vos in that Euro Champions jersey banging the bars with frustration.
That was an incredible sprint by Jolien de Hoora there. It's a very long jump from that last corner to the finish, but she had one rider still leading her out round that corner. It was perfectly timed by Mitchelton Scott, and just leaving her to finish it off there. Brilliant, brilliant race.
So Jolien de Hoora wins stage 1 from Marta Bastianelli, Corinne Rivera, Georgia Bronzini, Amelie Deirdrichsen and Marianne Vos. Hannah Barnes was the highest placed British rider in 9th. Jolien de Hoora was the winner of the final stage of last year's race, and she's on the podium again on the opening stage of the 2018 OVO Energy Women's Tour. The Belgian rider also leads the way in the breast cancer care points classification. Christine Majerus is the first rider to wear the Skoda Queen of the Mountains jersey. Out in front in the Iceberg Sprints classification is Dutch rider Amy Peters. Danny Rowe is the Adnams best British rider in 5th position overall, thanks to her bonus seconds on their intermediate sprint. And Jolien de Hoora is back on the podium as the first holder of the OVO Energy green jersey.
I had a broken collarbone just 3 weeks ago, and even like 5 days ago I couldn't stand upright on my bike. So it was a bit of a question mark how I would do here. And actually today was the first sprint I did since my crash. So yeah, I'm really happy, and I'm really relieved that it went so well. But I have to say thank you to my whole team, because otherwise, yeah, I wouldn't have won here today.
Confirmation of the GC after stage 1, Jolien de Hoora with a 2-second advantage over Corinne Rivera, with Marta Bastianelli lying in 3rd at 4 seconds. Amy Peters is 4th, Danny Rowe 5th, just 8 seconds off the lead. Chloe Hosking is 9 seconds down in 6th place, and there's a big group of riders at 10 seconds. A great opening day. Make sure you join us tomorrow for highlights of Stage 2. But from Southold, me, Martin McDonald, Joanna Razzle-Shan and Rebecca Charlton, it's